by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Thousands of documents have been released with details about JFK's assassination. I'm Nikki Batiste in New York. I'll tell you what they reveal 5 decades later.
2 former police officers who took their own lives in the Butte area have police thinking about addressing the issue of suicide. I'll tell you about it coming up.
Good morning, Southwest Montana. 6:30 on this Friday. Chilliman, Missy O'Malley with you. We have Matt's forecast in a moment. Our top national story this half hour. The U.S. government has begun releasing massive cache of files in the 1963 assassination of President John F. Kennedy.
That's right. Now, this is including thousands of documents that detail what the CIA and FBI knew before and after that fateful day. Nikki Batiste is in New York with some of the key findings finally being made public.
It's the day historians and conspiracy theorists have been waiting around 5 decades for. The National Archives released more than 2,800 records related to the JFK assassination. The government was required by a 1992 law to make them public.
So far, we're finding it's a picture of things that we already knew, some rumors, some innuendo.
Among the details printed in black and white, 25 minutes before Kennedy was shot, a London reporter had received an anonymous tip to call the U.S. Embassy, quote, for some big news. The FBI discussed Lee Harvey Oswald prior to the assassination. He was part of a pro-Fidel Castro group that was on its radar. The Cuban leader met with U.S. government officials and insisted neither he nor his government had anything to do with the president's death. What many who've investigated the assassination are hoping to find more information about a mysterious week Oswald spent in Mexico City, where he met with Cuban and Soviet spies and an expert in assassinations.
Didn't the CIA know much more about what was going on with Oswald in Mexico City? Didn't they suspect that he was a much bigger threat? And why didn't they warn Washington of that at the time?
Other details unsealed, the CIA discussed efforts to assassinate Castro and even forged ties with the mob to possibly help. And the FBI received a call at its Dallas office threatening Oswald's life the night before he was shot and killed by Jack Ruby. Nikki Batiste, CBS News.
Now, roughly 300 files are being kept classified for now out of concern for U.S. national security. In the memo, President Trump directed agencies that requested reactions to review the reasons for keeping those records secret within 180 days.
So we may have more information on that in a few months, depending on what comes out of all of that. Absolutely. Right now, 6:33, Matt Elwell joins us. Kind of a chilly start to a Friday, but not a bad one all in all.
No, it's quiet. We don't have as much wind. That certainly helps for the afternoon. Temperatures a little cool this morning, as Chet was indicating, into the 20s for most of us. Clear skies, light wind, the big reason for that. Daytime high should be back into the 50s. We're seeing temperatures at least warming up on Friday. The big temperature swing likely to come as you head into Saturday. Another warm up in store. We'll of course talk about that. We do have some cooler weather on the way. We'll of course talk about what to expect heading toward Halloween. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. Now 6:33 in our top local story for you now. For the first time since 2011, the Montana Department of Livestock has detected cases of equine infectious anemia in the state. The agency detected it here in Gallatin County. EIA is a potentially fatal disease for horses, and it's spread from insect bites. It can cause fever, weight loss, and other side effects. EIA was detected in multiple horses on a property in Gallatin County. Now, those results were confirmed by the National Laboratory in Iowa. Following up, testing on other equines on the property are underway, and the Department of Livestock has alerted nearby horse owners to be on the lookout.
Horses travel tremendously with their owners, and so there's the potential for animals that come from areas of the country where they do see more cases to come into Montana. Occasionally we find pockets of horses that, because they don't travel across state lines, which is a movement that requires a test, if they never travel across state lines, they've never been tested.
Now, at this time, there is no known cure for equine infectious anemia, although the state says the cases of EIA have decreased since the testing began in 1972. About 50 cases of EIA are diagnosed every year here in the U.S.
Shifting gears this morning, 2 recent suicides by former police officers in the Butte area have police thinking about the problem of suicide. MTN's John Amy talks with law enforcement in Butte to find out how they're handling these tragedies.
In the span of 1 week, a former police officer from Anaconda and one from Butte took their own lives. These tragedies shed light on a profession that can take a serious physical and mental toll.
Law enforcement is one of the most noble careers you can choose. It's probably one of the most rewarding careers you can choose, but it's also a career that can take a lot out of you as you progress through your career.
The group Badge of Life reports that 108 cops nationally committed suicide in 2016. The reasons may vary, but law enforcement can be a difficult and highly stressful occupation.
And you see so much trauma that sometimes it's not really apparent to you that it's affected you. And then you think about it a year later or 2 years later, or maybe you drive past the scene and you kind of flash back to that incident where it occurred.
The sheriff said after a traumatic incident, officers go through something they call critical incident stress debriefing. And more officers are willing to seek counseling if they're having troubles at work.
And in the old days, I think there was a little bit of a thought, well, you know, I don't want to call the Employee Assistance Program because there might be perceived that I'm weak. And I don't think that's there anymore. I think it's a matter of officers and law enforcement in general realizing that it's not only physically dangerous, but it's dangerous to your mental makeup.
The sheriff added that he will miss his fellow officer and friend, Tim Tracy.
I rode with Tim when he first started, and he was on the SWAT team with me for a number of years. And you look back at those memories, and there's awful lot of happy times in there where he was true Timmy, and he was a guy that wore his heart on his sleeve, and he would do anything he could for you.
Taking care of their own. In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
Now, John tells us law enforcement in Butte will conduct a memorial procession for Officer Tim Tracy after his funeral service Monday morning.
And after 45 years of planning and $7 million, the Bozeman International Airport opened up its new runway yesterday. It's designed for smaller planes, and a big crowd, including previous board members, were all on hand. There were 2 ribbon-cutting ceremonies on the new runway, one from the Belgrade Chamber of Commerce and the other from the Bozeman Chamber of Commerce.
Well, it's a pretty special invite to be part of this celebration. I've been flying off of Gallatin Field for 42 years, and my airplane is kind of special, and to be part of it, it's kind of unique.
Oh, we're extremely excited. It's been a long time coming. Obviously, initial thoughts of this were 45 years ago, and to culminate today into being able to use this runway and be able to support all of the aviation in Southwest Montana, we're very excited.
Now, after the initial takeoff by private pilot Tim Lynn, Summit Aviation owner and founder Ben Walton was the very first one to be landing on the runway dedication ceremony.
Good addition to Bozeman Yellowstone International. Shifting gears, a group of advocates for the Haven Women's Shelter marched in the streets of downtown Bozeman yesterday. The march highlighted the prevalence of domestic violence in our community. Supporters of Haven marched from the old courthouse steps to the library, holding up "No More" signs. When they reached the library, they were greeted with a $20,000 check from the Mary Kay Foundation for Haven's efforts in helping those affected by domestic violence.
Haven recently lost some federal funding, and thanks to our community's support and this generous grant from the Mary Kay Foundation, we were able to continue all of our programs and be able to keep serving survivors at the same capacity and even higher than we have before.
Now you can reach Haven by calling the number 586-4111. One note to pass along as well, the latest Smart Asset Survey shows that graduates of Montana Tech and Butte earn the most money in their first job out of college of any college grads in the state of Montana. Montana Tech grads earn an average of $58,300. That's awesome. Montana State University grads are next at $48,400. Carroll College grads earn an average of $45,200. University grads of Montana grads earn $40,000. MSU Billings grads earn an average of $39,900. Now, not only does Montana Tech degree lead in the highest starting salary, it's also the second least expensive to attend Montana. When tuition and living expenses are added up, the average amount of scholarships and grants are subtracted. The annual cost of attending college lowest at MSU Billings, followed by Tech, then the University of Montana in Missoula, MSU in Bozeman. The most expensive is, of course, the private college, Carroll College in Helena.
Interesting statistics.
Not quite earning the average for Montana State graduate, though. That's it. We'll work on that.
We'll work on
I'll go talk to the boss in the commercial break. We'll see what happens.
Good. That's
Wish
good.
me luck.
Let me know how that goes.
Yeah, we'll
we
see.
do have to take a quick break, but we're so glad you're here because Dr. David Parker is in the studio as we are paid a visit by Senator Steve Daines.
But first, let's head to New York to check in with Charlie Rose for a look at what's coming up at CBS this morning.
Ahead on CBS This Morning, we've had a team up all night reading through the thousands of documents just released on the JFK assassination, what the FBI knew about Lee Harvey Oswald, and this. Meet the 7-year-old ready to throw out the first pitch at Game 4 of the World Series. She will do it using a 3D printed hand. We'll see you at 7.